Hey there, students. So I need to start being able to write out the math rather than just doing it on the screen because I've got to show my work and my thinking. So these videos are going to be a little bit less glamorous, but hopefully they work out just as well. So today we're talking about rounding, and I kind of feel that students tend to overcomplicate rounding. The main thing with rounding is we're just asking is a number is if it's closer to between two numbers. So let me show you what I mean by that. So if we think of this number as a number line, okay, and over here is 0, and over here is 10, and let's say I had the number 7, all we're doing with our rounding is we're just saying is the number, ooh, that video is really grainy. I might have to upgrade some video equipment, but at least you can see it. We're asking number 7, is it closer to 0 or is it closer to 10? And we know that the number 7 is closer to 10. So that means that 7 would round to 10 instead of towards 0. That's all rounding is. We just do it with bigger and bigger numbers. So I just try to tend to think of it as, things on a number line. So like let's say that we had the number, of 533. And we wanted to say 533. We want to ask if that number is closer to 500 or whether that number is closer to 600. And so when we think about that number on a number line, we know that 533 is closer to 500 than to 600. So we can say that 533 would round to the nearest hundred to 533 is 500. But we can get a little bit bigger numbers than that. Like let's say that we had the number 609,321. And let's say that we were wanting to round that to the nearest 100,000. So I would think of this, I can think of it like it's on a number line. And I have 600,000 over here and 700,000 over here. Because I know that 609,000 is going to be between 600,000 and 700,000. So then I can ask myself, is 609,321, is it closer to 600,000 or is it closer to 700,000? And it's closer to 600,000. So I can say that 609,000, that it would round to 600,000. That's the basic concept of rounding. Now there's some little tips and tricks that we can do with it as things start to get more complicated. So let's say that I had the number of 78,528. And I wanted to round that number to the nearest 1,000. Okay, so in this one, I'm trying to say the nearest 1,000 to 8,528 is basically what I'm wanting to round this number to. So my first step when I have these bigger numbers is I actually like to underline the place value that I'm rounding to. So in this case, I'm rounding to the nearest 1,000. So I'm going to underline the thousands place value. If it said the nearest 100, then I would underline the hundreds place value. But I can underline that 8 right there because that reminds me that, oh, that's the place value that's either going to stay the same, it's either going to stay an 8, or it's going to bump up 1 to become 9, or 79 thousandths. So then what I actually like to do is I actually like to go and look next door. So next door to the 8 is 500s. In fact, it's 528. So I need to ask myself, is 500 is 8,528? Is that number closer to 9,000 or is it closer to 8,000? And another way we can think about that is that if this digit, if it is 0 to 4, then the number stays the same. If it's 5 to 9, it's going to add 1 because this 528 shows that 8,528, the 500 shows that it's closer to 9,000 than it is 8,000. So in this case, the 528, it does mean we're going to bump it up 1. So in fact, I'm saying that 78,528 is closer to 79,000 than it is 78,000. So I can just bump up that 8 digit by 1. I still have to include the 7 because I'm not changing the number. I'm just saying which number is about 78,528 to the nearest thousand. So that would be 79,000. So then if I was to do another example, let's say that I had 84,000. Actually, let's do a big one. Let's do 849,999. And let's say that I'm rounding that to the nearest 100,000s place. So I have 100,000 above. And whenever you're rounding, if you're doing a question, it will tell you exactly where they want to round it to. Otherwise, you get to choose. And you round to the place value that you think is best. But I'm going to underline the 100,000s place to remind me that that's the place value that's either going to stay the same or increase by 1. And then I'm going to go next door and look at this 4. So really, the question I'm asking myself is 849,999, is that number closer to 800,000 or is that number closer to 900,000? So if I take a look at that, remember 0 to 4 stays the same, because 40,000 or 49,999 is closer to the is actually closer to 0 than it is 100,000. So 849,000 is going to be closer to 800,000 than it is 900,000. So 0 to 4 means that digit here is going to stay the same, and then everything else becomes zeros. Let's solve one last problem. Looks like that paper's all full. Let's grab another one. So let's say that for our last one, let's do like 713,786. And then let's say I want to round it to the nearest 1,000. Again, the problem will tell you which place value it wants you to round it to. So my first step is I'm going to underline this thousands place. In essence, basically what I'm asking myself when I'm rounding to the nearest 1,000 is I'm choosing whether 713,000 is closer to 714,000 or 713,000. That's the question I have to answer. But the way I can do that is I can underline that 3's digit, to remember that that is the digit that's either going to stay the same or increase by 1. And then I go and I look next door at that 7. Now, if you remember, digits 5 through 9 bump up by 1, this digit by 1, because it shows that it's closer to that next place value that's higher. So this 3 is actually going to become a 4. These will become zeros afterward because I'm saying that this 3,786 is closer to 4,000, and I need to keep the 7 and the 1, the 7 in the hundreds place value and the 1 in the 10,000s place value the same. So the question I asked myself again was, is 713,786, is it closer to 713,000 or 714,000? And if we thought of those on a number line, we could see, yeah, it's definitely closer to 714,000. So thank you so much for watching. And again, use the math space. There's tutorials on the math space. It'll walk you through questions. Feel free to use those as you're gaining skill in this as well. And thank you so much for watching.